And here we are, the second game of today. It is going to be another PvP, this time between Spectrum and CPU. And Spectrum is in fact the blue Protoss player that we see spawning in the bottom left hand corner of this pretty big 4-player map, Nimbus. And in the bottom right hand corner he faces off against the yellow Protoss player from Team Alien Invasion. It is CPU. Now for Spectrum I don't see a team, that's why I didn't mention it there. But let's see what he is up to. I do believe that CPU is pretty favored in this matchup. But of course in Starcraft we do see some weird things happening now and again. And Spectrum with this APM would not be surprised to make some waves. But then again, APM is not the same as skill. But it does help, of course. No 10 gates are going to come down. Both gateways will be dropped at 13 supply right there. And Spectrum sending out that probe right after he put down the gateway. Now no scout for CPU just yet. He's not too worried about a proxy 2 gate, of course. On this map with multiple spawn locations, it is very difficult to guess in which corner your opponent will have spawned. So let's see. Double gas has been taken. The probe for Spectrum is going to be pretty lucky right there. And it was scouted. And yeah, CPU just having a little bit banter right there. But I don't think that he should be underestimated, Spectrum right there. I mean, yeah, he was diamond ranked in Heart of the Swarm so far. But in Wings of Liberty he was top 8 masters. So it can work out pretty badly, but maybe with some Oracle harassment he can pretty much do quite a bit of damage. But what is Spectrum doing? That probe is kind of following that probe of CPU around. He already spotted his... Oh no, he did not spot his opponent in the bottom right hand corner. He did not move in far enough. Oh wow, this is pretty awkward right there. But CPU is going to have a very late scout. The cybernetic score for both these players is already finishing up. CPU's cybernetic score quite a bit faster. But he is actually going to that square area. That's the square area that you are going to need to find your opponent. And Spectrum must be very, very confused right now. Why didn't he find his opponent right now? And let's see, is he going to go to the bottom right hand corner once again? Oh, he's not clicking there. I don't see a rally point to that location. But a probe would not see too much anyway. No, it looks like he's returning back home. But he's being followed by the probe of CPU. But the mothership core already out. Oh, he's sending out that mothership core. So the sentry will be able to take out that probe. But CPU will at least know what is going on. And with the sentry there, it is pretty indicative of going for a pretty fast expansion. And in fact, it is going to come down right there. Now, the opening for CPU has been a Twilight Council so far. He's adding on 2 extra gateways. So let's see. Finally the probe did get taken out, but it did get a full scout out off, I do believe. Did he see that the expansion did come down? No, he did not see it. So kind of in the dark still for CPU, but seeing that the sentry was there, that should already be quite a tell. Now CPU is going to go into Blink. He's not going to try and go for Dark Templars or anything like that. But he's producing those Stalkers. And he is going to look to put on some pressure on his opponent. Now, let's see how that is going to work out for him. The defensive setup for Spectrum, it can work both ways. With these sentries, he's going to be able to force field for days. Well, not if he sends out a Hallucinated Phoenix. But Hallucinated Oracle for CPU will fly in. Photon Overcharge baited out for a Hallucinated Oracle. That's the most amazing thing that could happen for CPU right there. And now without Photon Overcharge, with only sentries for the defense, this can work out very bad. And the moment that CPU gets high ground vision, he can just blink up all of his stalkers, and there's just not going to be enough DPS to hold this off. There even was an observer built from that robotics facility before anything else. But now those warp gates are already done. The blink is nearing completion, just a few more seconds and it's gonna be done. And the first pylon, well, the second proxy pylon for CPU is being warped in right now. He's even adding on a few sentries for this. Killing off the rocks is not even the biggest of deals right there. But there is an immortal about to pop. But there is going to be an engagement very soon. In the economic sense of the way, there is going to be a pretty big lead for Spectrum. But if he's going to lose all of his workers with this push, he's not going to have a very good time. High ground vision is present. Blinks on top of the immortal. The immortal will get focus fired down. Sentries going down everywhere, but that still does not get rid of the DPS from these stalkers, of course. And he is pressing forward, looking at the unit tab. 4 stalkers against 6. And now even more stalkers have been warped in. Another immortal is popping. It's being focus fired down. He's going to blink on top of it. He is with 3 of those stalkers. It does get taken out. But will Spectrum be able to hold the stalker count in favor of Spectrum right there? And another immortal does get fired up. But more and more stalkers will be warped in. And of course, CPU does not have an expansion at this point just yet. So everything has been going pretty well for Spectrum so far. Another photon overcharge from that mothership core. Zella does get picked off. Nice blink away from that weakened stalker. And a nice focus on top of that weakened stalker of Spectrum, of course. But he's not out of the woods just yet. Looking at the army supply, it's still very equal. Another immortal did join this army. Shouldn't really chrono boost out another immortal, but well, he does have the money for it right now. There's going to be another push. Zealot is going to be able to tank quite a bit of damage, but he cannot really engage into that photon overcharge. He does it anyway. Blinks on top of the immortal once again, and he is keeping that immortal count very low right now. Once again, looking at the immortal count, at the stalker count, 1 in favor of CPU right there, and of course he has the advantage of having blink micro to his disposal. So his stalkers are going to be able to trade very much more cost efficiently. Another immortal is being warped in, so he cannot really continue that push. He's full off of those 3 gateways. But other than that, he does not have anything. No transition so far either. So let's see how this is going to work out. He blinks on top of the immortal once again. Zealot's going to warp, going to walk up. Doing quite a bit of damage too. Blink is of cooldown for a lot of these units. Will he be able to break Spectrum right there? 5 stalkers against 5 stalkers. The next round of stalkers is being warped in for CPU. Another base is of course mining for Spectrum behind this. His economy is quite a bit better. The mothership core almost has enough energy for another photon overcharge. It's at 85 energy. Will he be able to get the robotics facility? Not committing to it just yet. Nice blink micro once again from CPU, but Spectrum has taken a 20 supply lead right there. And he is holding on. But will that be enough? The blinks from CPU, so amazing. Once again, blink on top of that immortal. He has taken the stalker lead once again by 2 right now. Probes are being pulled off the line, and has he finally done it? The stalkers are being microed back once again. Finally, some probes are dying off. But there are now 4 gateways up and running for Spectrum, so he will be able to move in quite a bit more. He's just going to outproduce his opponent right there. But CPU is not looking to go for a very long game right there. It would have been very nice for him if he had a proxy pylon right there, but he's just going to blink up to the natural base. He's going to have the high ground advantage, and Spectrum is going to have to move up here. And of course you can blink down to that other location, I do believe. But let's see, once again blinking on top of that immortal, a little bit into the range of that photon overcharge. This is not going to work out too well. But still, oh, he tries to blink away. Another stalker does get hit by that photon overcharge. And 38 supply against 67. I do believe that Spectrum has done it. The immortal's just doing so much damage against those stalkers. And this is looking very good for Spectrum, actually. He's 40 probes against 26 right now. His response has been near perfect. And Spectrum, without actually scouting his... Well, he did scout his opponent. There's an observer hanging over there, keeping a close eye on that natural base. And he just knows he just needs to hold on here, and he is going to take the victory. But now Spectrum has just been outproducing CPU for so long. It's 12 stalkers against 9, and of course the help from those 2 immortals is invaluable right there. Slowly but surely, Spectrum is taking a bigger and bigger supply lead. And there is gonna be the GG. And Spectrum takes the win, knocking out CPU in this game.